Hey everybody, it is Billy at Be Tough Man. I am here back with the Reef. I have an interesting topic today. If you are into reefing, you're probably going to weigh in on this. We're going to talk about how in the funk did corals get so expensive, outrageously expensive. And now fish are getting outrageously expensive. We're going to go over that. We're going to go talk to a local fish store here. He's going to clue us in. Also, stick around to the end because I'm going to show you a couple things that are going to be really cool for you to use with your own aquarium. It's going to bring them to life, and also it's going to help you take better photos with your phone, man. It's going to be crazy. Stick around. Let's check it out. How reefs got so funking expensive. Well, here we are with Steve Clark, right? You are the owner of Aquatic Pets here in Bakersfield, California.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing reefs?
Well, I've been doing reefs probably only about like 10 years, to be honest with you, 10, 12 years.
See, yeah,
but the store's been here for, oh man, my wife corrects me on this all the time, but 16, 17 years.
right.
Yeah.
Now, you have, in this area, some of the nicest corals around, right? I mean, you've been doing it for a while. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the topics that we've talked about, and I think a lot of people talk about it in the reefing industry, is the cost that has changed significantly over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the last like 5-10 years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's doubled, tripled, quadrupled, even more,
Yeah.
right? So let's get into that, man. Let's talk about it and how it all started. I mean, back in the day, you could get a reef going pretty
Right. You should be able to buy big pieces
Right.
for a reasonable price. Now everything is a little, it's either maricultured or you've got these private growers that do the frag swaps and stuff, and they do the designer corals, all smaller pieces. You can get bigger pieces, but a lot of times it's going to be quite pricey.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I remember back in the day, eBay, right? Where you saw this thing start happening where people would frag out like 2 or 3 polyps, right? Mm-hmm. Put a crazy name on them, right? Like, a green, for example, like a green zoa is now a Hulk, right? Incredible Hulk zoa.
Yeah.
Or you have Darth Mauls or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
They started putting designer names on corals, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, instead of these huge colonies like that might have like 1,000 zoas on it, you're buying 3.
Yeah.
Right. So how am I wrong there, or is that pretty close?
No, you're right. Yeah. And some people, it benefits, they do smaller tanks, they can do smaller pieces, and it doesn't cost them as much. But it's definitely changed. I mean, you used to buy big old rocks of zoas, and I mean, the wholesalers would have rows, raceways of zoas, and you could buy, you buy 10 for a certain price, and they were big. I mean, you're talking 200-300 polyps on the thing.
Right.
They all wouldn't have the like real high-end zoas on them, but you would find a few on there, and I mean, it's definitely changed.
Right. Did they always have the exotic zoas, or have those always been there, or did they start kind of farming those a little bit more?
No, they've always been there, pretty much been there. There's some morphs that have come out from others, but
because you have a set of Darth Mauls over here. These are the Darth Maul ones right here?
I believe those are Darth Mauls.
All right,
yes.
let me take a look here. But like, so this right here, this piece, like on this disc, can you show us this disc real quick? Because this is actually farmed, right?
Yes.
So when these aren't just like, okay, so this disc right here, so they take a zoa and they put it on the disc, right?
Yeah.
And then they farm them. Yeah. And then they get enough polyps on it and they can sell it.
Right.
Is that how it works?
They're maricultured, so most all this is Indonesian. They put them on little grates out in the ocean, and there may be hundreds of these, and then they let them grow out, and then they pull them out. That's one thing that's kind of changed with the prices too, is the restrictions. There's been a lot of almost, I would say, improvement, although some people might not agree on that, but we do have to be responsible for the oceans, you know what I mean? We can't just kill and keep robbing them and stuff like that. So, I mean, some ways like this, it does help because you're not pulling them from the wild.
Yeah.
So.
Also, too, man, I noticed that there's been change of what people want. Everybody wants something now that is electrified under the lights, right? I mean, and of course, when that happens, now all of a sudden those prices go up.
Definitely. Yeah, there's ultra. When you put a label ultra on it, it's 3 times the price.
Or toxic, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, so, and like I said, that starts at the wholesale. I mean, it's actually the farmers and everything too, the collectors, you know. Yeah, once you stick that price on there, it makes a big difference.
Right. And that, you know, going back to the wholesalers, I mean, they were very aware of what was going on, right? I mean, they're looking at this thing. Let's say they're selling like a big rock of Zoas for like $40 out of their wholesaler, right? And they're seeing some guy on eBay, you know, dicing it up like a drug dealer, right? He's knocking them out at like 3 polyps for 40, 50 bucks. And he's all, whoa, wait a minute here. I'm not going to keep selling. You know what I mean? He understands what's going on. So really, what happens is it's kind of like inflation of corals, right? Because all of a sudden now the wholesalers aren't willing to give that coral away anymore because they know what you're going to do with it. So the price goes up there. That makes the middleman, right? Now he doesn't really have the profit, but now the coral price is up higher.
Yeah, definitely. It's. I mean, I don't want to not like these little, you know, to do the frag swaps and stuff like that. They've actually done a lot for the hobby. You know, it kind of drives the demand. So, but yeah, it's definitely pushed the prices up.
Yeah.
Well, Indonesia corals, Indo corals, they were. I can't give you the exact time, but I want to say they were shut down for a couple years. And right before this whole COVID thing started, they had opened back up and started shipping in. They'd come to an agreement with their government and all the regulations and stuff like that. So, and so we started receiving again. Like once again, the price from before they were shut down, the prices have greatly increased. And I don't know if it's because of the more of the regulations or, you know, people understanding what the corals, you know, ultra corals worth, you know. So.
Right. So what's trending right now on the corals? I mean, is there one that people are gravitating to? I mean, I guess it's all like big spenders, right? I mean, you have customers, and I'm sure, you know, they're willing. Money is not an issue. If they see something they like, they're going to get it. But then you have other people that might be middle of the road, probably like more like me. They're like, if there's a good deal and you see something you might like it, right? And then there's some people that I just want to try to get anything in my tank. You know what I mean?
Well, and I like that. Not to go, but like, I like people that know what they don't buy a coral because of what its status is. They buy it because they like it, what it looks like, you know, because everybody's different. But I would have to say probably mushrooms at this time are the ones. Yeah, well, there's there's ultra mushrooms. You know, there's mushrooms that are getting, you know, that people are getting $1,000 for. You know? Yeah, so you know, and they. Is
it Recordias, or is that like a Recordia, or is that like just a mushroom?
Well, it's a bounce mushrooms. There's all these variants, and then there's, you know, you've got like these electus mushrooms and stuff like that.
You know, one of the more popular corals is the Euphyllias, right? I mean, that's probably my favorite corals. I just love them. The frog spawns, the hammers, the torches, all that stuff. And those have gone up quite a bit because
quite a bit, yes.
Back in the day, you could buy like a piece like this, right? Let's say that was one piece. I see you have it fragged out, right?
Yeah.
But a piece like this back in the day, you could probably get out of a store for like $60, $70 maybe back in the day. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for a whole piece.
Right, for a whole piece. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you knew the owner and he was cool with you and he felt good that day, you may get it for 40 to 50. You know what I mean?
Right,
but you could get some nice pieces, and then that would really get some colonies started in your tanks.
Yeah.
Right. But now, most of the time, even if you go on eBay, you go on any of these. I mean, even the top. It's hard to find one with more than 4 heads on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the price is so high on them. A lot of times, like us bringing them in, somebody doesn't want to spend that price on them, so we'll cut them into heads, you know, and sell them per head. Right. And I'll always try to keep a couple more bigger ones for people that do. I mean, it's just because the price. I mean, you're looking at those. Honestly, you know, those could go anywhere from, depending on who you're purchasing from, they could go anywhere from $50 to $80. You know, I mean, per head.
Right.
You used to buy camera colonies like for $45 with, you know, 10, 12 heads on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's hard to get a break, even like so one like this, right? Yeah. That's going to be over $200, right?
Oh yeah.
All day long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so. But like I said, like back in the day, you could probably get that for like $60, $70, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, on the higher end. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, the shipping costs and stuff have greatly increased. I was actually talking to one of my suppliers, and they were telling me that every year the freight prices for them increased by like 5%.
Right.
So
Where do you think the biggest markup comes from? Does it come from, because there's 3 stages, right? You have the collectors, right?
Yeah.
The wholesalers, and then the stores.
Yes.
Right? And each one of those, the price goes up, right? Because everybody's got to make money on their thing, right?
Right.
So, I mean, are they really going back to the collectors? Are the collectors charging more now too? Or is it?
I think so. I don't deal with them direct, but from what I understand, yes, they are getting a little bit more. You know, there's even more. You could have a collector. A guy goes out there, and then there's a guy that buys them all from them, and then sells them to a holding company in, like, say, Indonesia or wherever, and then they ship them to the wholesaler. So there might be a 4 or 5 person process before you.
Everybody gets a cut. It's like, I hate to say this, but it's like drugs, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
you have
Oh,
to,
yeah,
I mean, really,
you
it
know what
is.
I mean? Yeah.
Even when you cut them up, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you get more money the
Yeah.
more you cut them up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like, one of the biggest news stories of reefing is the yellow tang, right? If you've ever seen one of these lately, you may get sticker shock,
Yes.
right? And there's a reason why. So tell us why the tangs and how much they're going for. Like, what is this tang? This is a good, I would say this is a large tang.
That's
right here.
it's a good large, I would say. And honestly, I haven't changed the prices on any of these, but this is $125. But you would probably,
Wow.
for a small medium, from some places they're actually getting like $450 a piece for them. Yeah, because I was lucky enough to grab a few before they shut down the whole Hawaii collection.
So Hawaii has a limit, and there's a few fish, right, that are on
Yeah,
that. I think I
yeah.
saw fox faces have gone up quite a bit too. I mean,
Yeah. All the fish have gone up. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Hawaii ones, because you're just not going to be able to get them at this point. The good thing about it is there is companies that are aquaculturing, you know, and so the saltwater is made leaps. It's a little bit behind the freshwater and farm raised fish, but it's coming a long way. Yeah, you know, you're going to see, if you can even find a yellow tang, they're going to be very pricey.
Yeah. Is that limited time, or are they going to bring that back? Are they going to bring them back?
I don't
later?
know. I mean, I don't know if it's permanently shut down. From my understanding is that they can collect yellow tanks from other areas, but they're not set up to do so.
Okay.
You know, it's about what's the easiest ride.
Yeah.
Hawaii, you know, I believe they're catching these off like the Kona coast. Like, there's going to be a lot of passenger planes coming in and out. So the price to get the fish to the suppliers is, you know, and the whole logistics a little bit easier.
Right. You know, another thing that kicked off I don't want to say a few years ago, a while back, was the designer clownfish.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Dude, the price tags on those are
Right.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
How did that come to? Because these are actually captive. These are captive
Yeah.
bred,
All
right?
these are from a company called Sustainable Aquatics.
Yeah.
All my clownfish come from them. You know, you get, when there's a new one that comes out, the price is always high, but as all the wholesalers that breed them, aquaculture, that the price goes down. You know, it's supply and demand.
So wait, if someone breeds them, the price is cheaper than wild collect? It depends, right?
Well, a lot of times you're not going to see a lot of these patterns in the wild because
Right.
they've basically, they're a cross. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, once they start producing more of them, the more become available from all the people that are breeding them, the prices drop. You know,
Are you seeing a big demand for these still?
Oh,
Really?
oh,
The designer clownfish?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we bring in. I mean, we always they still have their regular. You know, these are still by Sustainable Aquatics. These are just an orange ocellaris.
Yeah.
You know, basically the base to all these.
Right. Now I remember. Now, is the yellow tang going to pass the purple tang on pricing ever?
Yeah,
It is.
I think so.
No
way.
way.
It's probably already has. Yeah.
Are you, man? Would you ever think that a
No.
yellow tang
No, not at all.
would be more expensive than a purple tang?
I'd have to look, but I bet you the price is already. If you can even find yellow tanks, you know, it's all about how many are available to you. You know, so.
Right. Yeah. Now I gotta say, man, this is one of the coolest fish I've seen here. This is a ghost eel. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a ribbon eel.
A ribbon
Yeah,
eel?
but they're-
Are these kind of rare, aren't they? Or are they?
No, they're not so much rare. They're just
How hard are they to keep?
they're fairly hard to keep.
Yeah, they're hard to get to eat. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Do you have to target feed them?
Yeah, we work on it. Just try and all the different recommendations.
Yeah, any luck with this guy yet?
Not yet.
So live rock, right? Here's
Yeah.
like some of your live rock.
Yeah,
well, actually,
this is just, I got stuff over there.
Yeah,
too.
this-
This
but-
is kind of just a basic one. But
yeah, it's your damsel tank, dude, right?
Yeah,
Right there, the
just
damsels.
these people bring in damsels because they're aggressive, and I don't want to put them in my system, so I'll quarantine them and I'll throw them in here.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. But so you can't get live rock anymore. You can't.
no, not really. I understand that maybe that there's some other, like Fiji pretty much shut down for, that was where all the rock was pretty much coming from. So that's non-existent anymore. I don't know if they're getting stuff from like Australia or different places, but
So if someone wants to buy live rock, though, is there any places to buy them? I mean,
no, not really. There's a
Really?
place here. Actually, there's a place here in town called Aquarium Arts. Guy's name's Marty. He has a little bit of. He ships all over the place live rock,
wow.
and he has some Fiji rock. He sells it. It's a premium price, but it's really nice. It's all core-lined up and stuff already.
I remember back in the day, they'd have some awesome rocks. I mean,
Yeah.
it was almost as exciting as getting corals
Yeah,
because
right.
you never knew what was going to, like, you could
Right.
tell there was living
True
things.
live rock,
There was
yes.
stuff in there.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
get crabs. You could
Yeah.
get, I mean, you get some bad things too, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'd even get corals on them. I
Yeah.
remember back in the day,
Yeah.
like getting a free coral out of a couple of them.
Yeah, when
Right?
and that was, and that's what drove you had what was called boat rock, and then you had plain rock. Boat rock would go in a sea train and be shipped over that was the most, it made the rock more, like you could buy rock for, as a person buying it from me, you could buy it from $4, $5 a pound. But if you got stuff that was flown in and was super fresh, you know, that price doubled or tripled, you
Yeah.
know? So, and you would be lucky on the boat rock every once in a while to get some live stuff, but with the plain rock, man, you would get some really cool stuff coming in. You got, like, this is called South Seas. People
Okay.
can start rock.
So this was actually at one point live rock, right? Or
It's a form of,
but it came from the
it
ocean,
comes-
or is this man-made?
no, I think they harvest it off of
Okay.
in Florida.
Okay. So you put it in here to seed it, right?
Well, this is a completely fake rock. This
Oh, it
is a
is?
man-made rock. This is my grabbers are not working.
That's a cool piece. Wow.
This is called real reef.
Now, does it come
Colored.
colored?
Yes,
It does.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. And then that's a flat.
Okay.
But
Oh, that's nice looking. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, this is called real reef. It's
And
a
it'll
cool-
still have it still carries the bio of like a real rock.
Yeah, we set it in here. They usually run them in like raceways and culture them, so they should have some live bacteria. It's not going to have the diversity as like the rock coming from the ocean.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You know, the one thing, I've always been a big fan of live rock. I run probably more than most people. In my experience, I felt like that really, it helps protect you a little bit from
Yeah.
ammonia spikes and stuff. There's things, you know what I mean? Having
Right.
all that live rock.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I said, it's like I used to enjoy, like coming to the fish store, I used to come just to browse through the live rock. I used to love to kind
when
of go
there's-
through it, and there'd be
Yeah, see if
stuff all
there's
over
little-
it.
right.
Yeah, there'd be like, you'd feel
Little
like
freebies.
Oh yeah, there'd be
yeah.
all kinds of stuff on them. So, yeah.
That's a gold nugget. That's just a
So this is a form of a maroon clown here?
yeah.
I've never seen a white maroon clown, man.
Yeah.
How did they get to this level? So one has like a little bit of a deformity and then they match that up with another one
Yeah,
like
they
that?
start crossing them and stuff
do?
until they get
Wow. All right, Steve, so show us, let's say if someone wants to get involved in reefing, they don't have a lot of money. There is some hope though, right? I
Right,
mean, you
yeah.
can get into the hobby without, dumping a ton of money in it.
Right.
Give us some ideas of things that would be good starter things for people.
Well, obviously, like the clownfish are usually because they're fairly hardy. Like if you're doing corals, I mean, we do have frags that are they're a little low right now, but 10, 17, 25. I mean, the sky's the limit when you come over here. But
Yeah.
and
the softy corals, like,
the leathers.
which you have some over here, right? So, like, this is a good example, right? You can get these fairly cheap
Yeah.
from most coral
Yeah.
stores, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at, for the most part, like small pieces like that are probably like $17.
Right.
You have some in here that are 30.
Yeah. Right. And
You can get going and start off with some easier stuff and not be
Right, and the good thing is that you can get these and they grow fairly fast.
Right.
And then you may be able to frag your own.
Yes.
And then do some trading, or
Exactly.
I mean that's kind of the thing,
Yes,
right? I
yes.
mean for some people. So
Right.
you know, you're not necessarily out of reefing with the new prices. You just have to do it a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I remember a few years ago that the acros were kind of like, you know, the top reefers were all about acros,
Yes,
right, and stuff
yes.
like that. But you say the trend's kind of changed a little bit, at least in this area of Bakersfield, right?
Right.
So
yeah, for us, it's not a really big seller. We do, you know, we have maybe a handful, 2 handfuls worth of customers that buy acros. Most of them are, you know, LPS, softies, mushroom zoas, you know,
Right.
leather, stuff like that. But
they also require a little bit more
yes,
care,
yes,
right? I mean,
yeah.
you got to be pretty specific on
Yeah,
your settings.
yeah, definitely. The cleaner the water, the better with Aquapora.
And some corals, like a lot of the ones I keep, they like dirtier water, right? So there's some
Yeah.
corals that like, and that's
Right.
kind of like how some people will have. They say, "Oh, well, I have an easy reef here, right? I can
Yeah.
kind of get away with stuff." Well, that has to do with the kind of corals you're keeping.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and we all try to achieve this like perfect tank with, you know, that's perfectly clean. For some corals, you want a little bit of that waste in there to help feed them and help
Yeah.
them grow. You know, you don't want too much because sometimes it affects the colors and stuff. But
Some of the soft corals actually grow algae within their tissues, right? Am I wrong on
Yeah.
that? They do, right?
Yeah.
So if you have algae growing in your tank, it's probably benefits some soft corals that
Yeah.
actually do the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, man, check these out. Now, I have these orange glasses, right? No, I'm not going hunting, dude. What are these glasses? Because I put them on and I was like, oh my, man, it turns everything into Willy Wonka land, dude. What is this thing?
It just filters out the certain colored light so you can see the corals.
It does, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to see your corals in a super, if you thought you were psychedelic, man, it's like you have to understand like what these are. You can't even explain what they are. But if someone wanted to get them, what are they called?
I think they're called like yellow light blocker or something like that.
Yellow light blocker, man.
Don't quote me on that, but yeah.
Dude, these are legit for sure. All right, man. Now this is super cool for you guys that like to take pictures of your corals with your iPhones. This lens right here will make it. We used a little bit here. When you put it on my lens, I was like, whoa, because it really pops the colors of the corals, right?
Yes.
And so, what is this called? Like, what if you're looking for that? What do you,
It's this is by Polyp Lab. This is I think it's called Coral Lens.
Yeah.
Or Aquarium Clip or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the same thing as the glasses.
Yeah, and it just clips onto your phone.
Yeah.
And it covers the lens, and you can see your difference. Here, I'll show them a difference here. So let me show them real quick. So
Yeah.
here's the difference of without it. And then here's the difference with it on. Yeah, man, that's cool. I like that, dude. That's cool. Thanks for that, man.
You're welcome.
I like it. So anyway, very cool interview, man. I know it's a... let me ask you this question, because do you think corals will ever get cheaper from here on out? Or do you think there's only one way? No, it's not going down? It's wishful thinking, man.
No, it's
That's
as
here to
long as
stay.
I've been doing it, it doesn't go down. Yeah, so
Yeah.
even if they collect they open up areas, it may drop a little bit, but it usually.
You know your best chance to get corals at a little bit discount price is become friends with the owners. Right?
Buy a lot of corals.
Buy a lot of corals. There you go. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah,
All
no
right.
problem.